3 squared, and I'm like, Jesus, nobody knows how to use it. It's amazing, dude. I was talking to like a bunch of my buddies that like have used it, or like somebody in their brokerage shop uses it, and they were telling me that they manually send out 100 emails a day. And I'm like, why would you not just use the scheduling tool and approve all tool and like schedule lists? And they just have no clue they could do that.
I think that's a problem that we need to solve.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know how common that is, but I'm like, yeah, you're not using the tool nearly as well as you should be.
So Phoenix Commercial was one of them. Who were the other with the most epic name? What other firms come to mind?
I was just talking to Parker about it. I don't think he's used it. I think somebody in his office was using it, but he said he didn't have a lot of traction. I was like, that's crazy. Uh, and that's Western Advisors or
Yeah.
Western Commercial. Um, yeah, I'll talk to a couple more people. I mean, just any of my buddies in the industry. I've just been bringing it up a lot. I also told I owe you another intro. Sorry, let me put in my notes.
No worries, dude.
Intro. Jerry. Grace Companies. WM Grace.
Mm.
Let me let them know about it. Yeah, dude, it's exciting. I'm letting a bunch of people know. I'm like, they have this assistant thing. It's sick. and,
No, it's
and that's my low detail version of events.
makes total sense, man. Well, we're grateful. I think Goo mentioned you guys already had a back and forth earlier today, so we want to be respectful of your time, but hopefully make it valuable whenever we do connect. What from like Goo and Leo and Yasmin's perspective, like what's the agenda here? Like what's the loose agenda that we want to go over? Is this kind of like, is there any more back and forth that you need, Goo, in terms of the follow up? What's kind of, let's set the table on like what do we want to accomplish together and be respectful at Dan's time.
So let me just start talking about the follow-up thing. So as we talked together last week where we were building a follow-up tool to send emails based on your leads, and we are like ready to have this up and running for everybody else. So I just wanted to send you the email, just wanted to see your feedback on it, how you would take the information from that email and use it moving forward, so I can understand if it's something missing, what you really needs to know, if it's like a bunch of information that you don't need as well. Maybe this happens. So this is for me, this is the first part, the important part about the follow-up reminder. And I know that Leo and Yasmin has some questions for you as well, that they wanted to gather some information about your use with Resquared. So the agenda for today is basically those two steps. First of all, is understanding this follow-up part. If you think it's great, if you feel that's something missing or something a lot, and then I will move to Leo and Yas to ask you those questions.
And then the one that you're going to send me today, is that for, what is that for? Is that going to cover a week, or is that going to cover a campaign, or is it going to cover a day?
This, at least for now, the way that I've built first, just to be able to test, it's going to cover day. So this will show all the leads that you have received between today and 24 hours back. But for the active one, once we have everything done, gather your feedback and apply that to the Martyr stuff, we are going to do a weekly run for that. So every other week, you will receive an email with all the leads that you received in past 7 days.
I was also just thinking about it, and it would probably, I'm not sure which one would be better, to go the week route or to go the end of a campaign route, or like at each stage of a campaign. If you do a 3-step, you know what I'm saying? That way, at the end of step 1, let's say you email 100 companies or email 1,000, that's when you get it. And then you have, hey, here's, we waited, the email campaign is done right now. We'll send a follow-up one. No. So how you do it is you'd say, hey, stage 1 of the email campaign is done. we sent out 1,000 emails. Here's your 25 responses. And then when you send for stage 2, you would include like an update on the stage 1 list, if that makes sense. So it'd be like, hey, here's anybody that may have been missed from stage 1 that opened the email at a later date. Right? I could see that being like beneficial. And then you have the same thing for stage 3, and it's a quick update on both of the first stages. Also, I guess like, so if you do a 3-step, it would just build on it and it would just update you there. I'm trying to think how the follow-up tool could be the most beneficial. And that's kind of where I'm going with it. I would think that particular specific campaigns would keep it neat and organized.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. I will start understanding how would we do for that, but it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So as far as she starts, I will start my thing right now. So you will receive an email right away with the information from a lead that I have already checked that you received yesterday. So I think, I'm not sure if you already saw their email or anything. They are called Your Beautiful Aesthetics. So you will receive an email with information from them. So
what's the email going to come from?
yeah, this will come from our address, like Resquare Coach right now, probably named by Rex, which is our coach name. But this will be related to a lead that you received their reply yesterday. And the business name is My Beautiful Aesthetic.
Yep.
The email should be going right now to you. So probably by refreshing your inbox, you will see it.
Got it. Yeah, I was going to say, actually, yesterday and today, I think I got 2 or 3 responses total. Cool. I got it. Hey, Daniel, you've got 3 hot leads waiting for your response on these businesses.
Can you share your screen, Dan?
Yeah, I was just
I'm curious.
With email, I'm making it wider. Pull it out. Hold on, I have to give it access. I never use Google Chrome. All right. For me to give it access, I'm going to have to quit, so I'll be right back, guys.
Guys, I think for these calls moving forward, we need an agenda. Like, here's what we're going to go over today. Because, Goo, even what you were just explaining, how it's hard to follow. Of like, what are you sending? What's like not sent? So I think as we evolve this together, agenda I think would be super helpful. And I can help with that. But anyways, that was quick, Dan.
Yeah. So can you guys see my screen?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so this is what the email looks like. You got 3 hot leads. The business you reached out to in the last 24 hours. A quick follow-up makes all the difference. Your Beautiful Aesthetic, Glendale, 480, gives me all the information. What they ask, hi, Daniel, I'll be looking for another space soon. Can you give me more details? Not sure on location, but so that one I'd follow up, and I'd literally just say, great, let's jump on a call and push to a phone call. Jen is actively considering Intel on the business. This is redundant. This could be removed. Intel on the business, well-established medical aesthetic wellness center in Glendale since 2017. Operate single location. That's great. This is great. The Intel on the business is really good. Gives you like a second of research before. Creek highlight. Yeah, that's good. Suggested response. Thanks so much for the follow-up. I'd love to help you explore best fit for your next space. Below are some options near Cave Creek. Open to. Yeah, so realistically, I'd probably, at the second that somebody's going to say, hey, I'm interested, I'm going to push for a phone call. I mean, the email suggestion's pretty good, but I'd orient this around getting them on a phone call as quickly as possible. That way you could just talk it out and say, hey, there's absolutely nothing available in Cave Creek. If you were to get anything, it would be new construction. You'd be paying an arm and a leg. Where else could we look? So you could just direct better. But hi, Daniel, looking for another space soon. Not sure, but I would love to do Cave Creek. Yeah, everybody would. That's sick. Other leads to follow up. Your beautiful aesthetic. Another space soon. That's that one. It didn't pick up.
This right there, I just added just for you to see how it would look if you had any more leads. So I just like make a duplicate, because in this case, what we are doing is that we have priority between your leads that you receive, and this would be like the highest priority, and then in that chart that I added below, it would show up information and the questions for all the other leads that you received throughout the week. So you don't have a huge email. This would be just like their information and then your email, what they asked to you.
This is good, but like this is in the way that I'm looking at it is like this is like a beta version of it. So I could tell you. So what would be more beneficial than this? I think no more. So this is actually really nice. Hold on, I want to think about it too, because this is nice because it's giving you the hottest lead and it's identifying what the hottest lead is. See, this is why I told you guys you're no longer in real estate and you're an assistant company, because realistically, if this was inputted into your email and it can track your personal emails and say, hey, you haven't emailed this person yet, like this is a hot lead, you got to do this ASAP, that would be so sick. But I would still go back and I'd probably say an Excel spreadsheet's the best way to do it. And you should probably do it to a campaign or to a week. That way you can put together a few businesses, so it's not so cloggy with information. And then if you go Excel spreadsheet, I just go columns. By far, the repeating their email, great. Why it matters, unimportant. Intel on the business, awesome. Follow-up angles, good. But again, the goal here would be to push to a phone call. And then the suggested response would be good, but it should be more oriented to the phone call. And I think that will be learned through the AI as it's going. Your beautiful aesthetic, time use everything. In 1 hour times. That's true. All of them. Yeah. Yeah, so it picked that up. It said, consider calling them for fastest engagement. I would just, it's interesting. Almost if you could get a hot lead email a day, but then have towards the end of the campaign an Excel spreadsheet with all this information for everybody that responded, that'd be cool too. Because I did get another 2 responses, pizza responses, and I liked them. They were interesting. I don't think I picked up on that.
Dan, quick question. Let's pretend, because I think what you said is the most tactical thing is you're trying to get these people on the phone, right? So let's pretend, like that wellness company or whatever, right? And you have the like context on them, so that helps you a little bit when you're about to call them. There's like 100 questions I want to ask you, but two parts. Part one is there anything in that, about the business, that is missing that you would still need to look up before you call them? It's part A of the question.
Well-established medical aesthetic and wellness center operates in a single location, offers wide menu. I'd love to know their business size if that was available. Public needs, expansion or relocation. I'd love to know Yeah, I'd love to know the news, and do we have her entire her full name? If I could get more of her name and the size of the location, that'd be really good. And then it gives me or it gives me if I click this into this site.
I think the red room will be fine. Ava, I was already thinking about this. For Ava, what we might want to do, Sam, is take all.
I'd say location too. If it just reiterated the location and it just said current location is Gilbert on this, the exact address. So I'd say address, size if available, and then more information on her if there was any. Would be like, and I just need like a full name. But the information, how long they've been open is great. I'd open the conversation with that. Be like, oh my God, Jen, it's so great to hear that you guys are in such a short time ready to expand. Your business must really be taking off. You opened in 17. Like, what an awesome goal. Like, what an awesome growth rate. Then that would kind of be like, okay, he did his research already. So that's super valuable.
That's perfect. And I think while you get their address, we should be able to say how far that is from the property. So it's like, okay, if it's, and the market, right? But, if you're doing assets in Denver or whatever, that you're not in your backyard. All right. So now about Jen, a little bit more about her personally. I think also noting, like, is this a number that was in her signature versus is this a number that was, from Resquared? The main thing I want to pick your brain on is what is the first question or the qualifying questions? Because I think where this can get is the AI kind of ask people some questions over email to qualify them further. So if you get 50 leads, it narrows it down to the 20 that are like hot, what's like, so once you say, hey, you've been open since 2017, you're growing, walk me through like how that conversation would evolve from there. What are the questions you're going to ask her?
Yeah, so after like a moment of buttering it up, it would be questions about the expansion. It'd be like, hey, so when we're looking for this new unit, would you be looking for something larger? Would you be getting another doctor to partner with? I would just try to learn more about the business as a whole. So each business would be a little bit more particular. Hey, are you going to be the primary operator of this second location, or are you partnering up with somebody? Right. I want to know who's signing a lease, who's on it, who's the partners. I'd get the size of the expansion. Most of the time, it's going to be a little bit bigger, right? They're going to expand and they're going to grow. So I'd get size, and then this would be harder, but like in this particular case, right? She mentions Cave Creek. This is harder because it's market knowledge, but there's nothing in Cave Creek. So the questions would immediately be, and like the conversation would immediately be steered to, if we're looking at Cave Creek, it's new construction, and new construction is super expensive. If we were to open up a little bit and start looking at Ahwatukee, Chandler, these other areas and regions that are close to Cave Creek and have similar demographics and great financials, we could be talking, it would really just be the expansion of the conversation. Hey, where valley wide, what other than Cave Creek is interesting because there's nothing available right now. So it'd be partnership information, how she's growing, the size of the location, and then for like a med spa, like what's your build out look like? Do you have a price point? The times have changed a little bit, and you do it in a non-condescending way. That was a little condescending, but it's changed in 17. Build outs for med spas are ridiculously expensive. Are you aware of this? Are we, how do you have a funding branch here, or are we going into the landlord for higher TI? Right? It would just be the phone conversation. You get a lot out, but I guess what the AI could do is really conversate based on that's awesome that you're looking to expand. Where else other than Cave Creek? What size? And then again, preface. Love to jump on a call. Here's my number.
Makes sense. And TI guys means he's basically saying that like if that person's going to open up another location, the landlord would pay for some of the renovations or would pay, you know, kind of offset it. And often landlords will do that, like with Target or whatever, right? They're going to do a lot of TI because they know Target brings the demand. And so if the tenant's expectation is they have to get a bunch of free shit, that's going to be a higher, you know, bar to reach. I'm curious because I think the med spas, you know, and that every deal is unique, and getting them on the phone is where the magic happens. I'd be curious to ask, see your trail of thought for the pizza shop one, right? So pizza shop
Would
replies,
actually be very similar. So a pizza shop got back to me and they were like, "Hey, yeah, we're interested in Arizona. Send me what you got." I think that was the exact email. I'd immediately respond, and I'd probably go ahead and I'd send them three brochures to three different second gen pizzerias, and I'd be like, "Hey, here's a super quick example of three awesome locations that are in either great centers, have great co-tenancy, or are in great intersections that have pizza build outs already in them. Um, if I if I think it's hot, maybe I'll go ahead, or if I have the pricing, I'll go ahead and give them the pricing. But then it would also still be oriented around getting them on the call. It'd be like, hey, here's a few examples of some of what the market has to offer for opportunity for second gen pizzerias. Would love to get on a call with you and pick your brain and see what your timeline is because these spaces go so quickly. And then also, it would really just be oriented on getting them on the call. For most any kind of a restaurant, it's mainly going to be second gen. So so you're going to try to avoid a TI conversation, right? Unless you're dealing with somebody really high end, which by the way, it picked up some really high end leads from ReSquared, like for tenant wise, where like I look up their business and I'm like, shit, that's like $1 million build out just finishes on top of the build out. So really depends, but for the most part, you're going to be looking at and you just need to preface that. So if I was going to say if the AI was catering a response to any kind of a restaurant, cafe, really anybody, it should probably preface second gen, like even a med spa. It would be like, hey, what if we looked at some former barbershops and some former salons that has plumbing all over the place and may have some of our infrastructure already established. I guess that would be the response.
that's hot fire.
Yeah.
One last follow up, and I think I think it's painting the picture pretty clearly. I hope you guys are tracking here. And obviously, the next one is so like, you know, I think the key here is getting them on the phone, right? And I think that what are often red flags when you're having conversations with potential tenants and you're like, this person is a fucking idiot or part of my French, right? Or like they are full of it, you know, like what?
If they're not going to get on the call, if
Mm,
they're like if they want you to go ahead and like do a bunch of work before they get on the call, there's no point, right? Like I'd say that's the biggest red flag. If it's like if you have to push a whole bunch for a call and like you're just not getting it, that's like the biggest red flag overall. It would also be like, I mean, it depends on the business. Every business has their own like set of red flags, but like restaurants, you have to be cautious with. There's a lot of people that waste your time. I'm trying to think like what phrases are like time wasters. Like honestly, that pizzeria one isn't a great response when it's like, "Hey, send me what you got." It's like, dude, what do you want to pay? What's your rate? Where are you? Where do you want to look? What kind of customer base are you? Hey, send you what I want. Yeah, send you to the hood. Like
Yeah.
what do you have to give me a little bit of information before I can? So when people are like kind of reluctant to give you any information, and they're like, this is it picked up the hot lead really easy, and it understands. It's like, hey, this person said that they're looking to expand and might need some help, right? And they gave a specific area. That's like a ton. That is ripe. I mean, whether they go to my shopping center or I'm now just going to represent them, I promise you, when we get off this call and I get this woman on a call today, I will be representing her before the end of the day. And I'll be putting a booklet together for potential locations for her based off how our conversation goes by the end of the week. So, like, that's ridiculously hot, but I would just say, yeah, like that pizza one, it's like, hey, send me what you got. Like my response is going to be to try to pull more information out of him. hey, there's so much opportunity. Here's a couple examples of it, but really let's jump on a call so we could discuss this at length and figure out what your needs are and how we could meet them. Because there's a bunch of different neighborhoods, there's a bunch of different markets. I'd love to understand your demographics and where you're seeing the most success in your business in your state, or which one of your locations is killing it the most. How can we replicate that? Right? Are you by a college? Are you by a hospital? Are you by a high school? Are you in a super heavy daytime employment? Or is all your sales coming from online? Right? Like just pepper them and try to get more information. The restaurants are trickier to pull that from because they're quick paced and they don't want to give you anything. They just think you're going to waste their time. So just getting them on that call ASAP.
And something I think is really important that you pick up on, all of you guys, but especially you, Goo, is we're talking about a lot of our clients, right? Dan's probably one of the smaller percentage of clients that's done landlord deals and tenant deals. So what we're talking about right now is a customer in California or in somewhere else looking to come to Arizona. And so he's representing that person to come to Arizona. And maybe it could be one of the centers he represents as well, and he doubles his commission on it, right? But to be clear, most of the time it's going to be like, hey, I'm representing this shopping center. Are you interested in this shopping center? But then also have some openness to other shopping centers. Like Kimco, for example, isn't going to give a shit if the person wants to go to X city unless they're going to pick a Kimco property, right? And Kimco has enough properties that it matters. But I think it's really important that you understand the difference between a tenant rep broker and a landlord rep broker, because there's different qualifiers and different information. Like Kimco, for example, would immediately send like a virtual tour for their asset, and Dan has done both, right? He's been on the landlord side, he's been on the broker side, he's been on the landlord and tenant rep broker. Is that clear to you, Goo, in terms of like what the use case here is?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
100%. Just to give a little piggyback on that. For example, if I was with Lamar, my every single response would be oriented around the shopping center that I'm targeting them on. If I had multiple shopping centers in that market, maybe I'd send them multiple, but it would be around what I have that can fill their needs. And if I didn't have anything and they said, hey, I'm passing on all of your sites, if I'm Lamar, I'd probably go for the referral. I'd probably be like, hey, you know what? That's great. We're not, we don't have a match, but let me hook you up with somebody that in the market that could represent you and really show you a whole bunch more. So I think it is important to premise, like even Kimco, like Westwood Financial, they send me leads all the time. Like I do have some big boys that send me leads because you have friends in the industry, but for the most part, you're spot on. Especially the bigger of the landlord you're dealing with, they don't care for the most part. If you're not going to go to their center, they don't care. When I'm doing it, when you're dealing with brokers like me or like Phoenix Commercial Advisors, Western, right? There's always going to be the multiple angles. So if you're not going to go to my shopping center, wonderful. You're talking to me directly, which means you are not represented, which means there's a problem here and you need representation. So my shopping center, okay, no worries. I'll go after somebody else. But now I want you, right? So now I'm going to get you and I'm going to represent you and I'm going to show you 10 other people's shopping centers. So that would be the key difference between the two. But still, you'd be surprised. Like a lot of the Kimco guys, a lot of the Western guys, they have friends, where they just think of them. And a lot of people built careers and financial situations off referrals, right? I just refer to phenomenal industrial buildings to my buddies. There's always an angle, but you're spot on. For the most part, it's the individual like brokers that are like me in those kinds of companies that are going to be looking at every angle of it. And then like the Kimco doesn't really care if you're not going to them. I mean, if you're not worth a few mil, they're like, screw off.
So I have a couple more questions to land the plane on this, but Goo, any follow-up questions on what Dan's saying? And then obviously Leo and Yaz, and I'll ask them around like some of the traction so far, and then we can kind of tee up, putting a bow on the AI agent, use case here. But Goo, any questions from your perspective, bro?
Yeah, I do have one about the phone call itself. I understand that the follow-up should ask for that. But there are plenty of times that the person just says, "Oh, please call me at this number," or we already have their number, which was this case. In cases like that, would you directly call them, or you would always want a confirmation for them, like, "Oh, please call me this time," or "Please call me"? Like,
Directly calling. I'm directly calling, immediately leaving a voicemail, sending a text message, and then I will email back and I'll say, "Hey, sent you my contact information. Let me know a good time to give you a call when I'm not going to disrupt business." But most of the time you're going to get, at 50-50, they'll answer. But I would immediately call. It's fine to leave a voice message. I want them to have my contact. And then I send them a text message with my full contact info. And then I'll respond to that email and I say, "Hey, tried your cell, left you a voicemail and my contact information. Please let me know a time that please let me know a time that's good for you where it's not disrupting business." I'd always premise that. And then between the three, there's no not responding to that. And people are fine with it. I've never had somebody be like aggressive. Super sidetrack story, guys. Your AI agent picked up that somebody apparently cursed in an email response and sent me a thing and was like, "Hey, this might be inappropriate. We're blocking this person." And I was like, "Wait, hold on. Send it to me. I want to see."
You would be surprised about the replies that we get sometimes, but yeah, that's why we made that.
Listen, I'm not surprised when cold callers call me. You should hear some of the things that I say. But
yeah, but yeah, that definitely makes sense. I will try to tweak it a little bit for always move to this phone call direction, even if we don't have the phone number. I would at least make for the coach follow up to make the email go in that direction. Of course, our idea moving forward is just to make this the most automatic as possible. So if needed, send them an email in your behalf, just having for you to confirm. So everything up on the plan. But at least for now, a good suggestion.
To that, a good response would just be like, "Thank you so much for your quick response. Super exciting that you're looking to expand. I'd love to get on a call with you and pick your brain. When would be a good time to call you and what's the best number?" Right? And the agent could do that pretty easy.
Okay, perfect. So that was my question about it.
Awesome. One quick question, and then I think we can make sure to be respectful of your time. So what have been the results of the agent so far?
To me, it's amazing because I've done nothing. Okay. So I have at least 3 very hot leads, and I have 5, 6, 7 other moderate leads. At this point, it's probably done 1 full campaign on the med spas and on the wellness. And you can see this response came in late. This response came in a couple days after that campaign ended. It's been doing a pizza campaign recently. So I'm probably 1,100 emails in, and I have 3 hot leads. So, and I did nothing. I used 30 seconds of my time, and I didn't use my brain whatsoever. So, I literally spoke to a broker, and he's like, "But don't you want to double check every single email to ensure that it looks good and they're not getting the business name wrong or something?" And I'm like, "No, why would I care?" I'm like, "Dude, it's in the background." I got 3 hot leads from doing 32 seconds of an email. I didn't do any work. It really doesn't matter if somebody's okay, so somebody sent me an email and it was like, "Hey, fuck off and take me off your sender list." I don't care. Okay. To me, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. If I'm gonna freak out, dude. If any of this turns into a deal, I'm gonna have a panic attack. We're all getting replaced.
I think 1, you're hilarious, dude, and 2, the quote machine strikes again. I think I think not if, but when, because like you said, you're gonna tenant rep the lady that you just talked about today, So I think let's make sure go on the back end that we have the campaign clips fully loaded, and that there's like not a moment that goes by there's not shit getting sent out. Because I think another thing that we should be exploring with this is like how to nudge the deal maker to make sure the clip is fully loaded. Like I imagine a world where like it goes to the website and it sees like, oh, we've already done med spas and pizza. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and reach out to this and this use case. If I don't hear back from you, I'm going to go ahead and send it, like, because, just constantly sending the stuff
especially if it's already done a campaign, right, for that center. Like if it starts learning your behavior and your campaigns, yeah, 100%. I mean, I literally have it on my agenda today to go do to like set up another 3 campaigns because mine are in like 3rd stage of follow-up today. And I'm like, oh yeah, I just got to spend 5 minutes and do set up another 3 campaigns for it. So like I picked like 3 shopping centers that I have that I'm going to do the campaigns for. But I'm like, yeah, dude, this is great. Like 100%. You have to, I think that's the only problem with Resquared is people get so lazy. They don't set the campaigns up and they don't have it constantly working in the background. And I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter. You don't need to check every email. If 20% of them look like crap and are screwed up, who cares? 20% are accurate. It's like it is a numbers game, okay? And if you cast a really wide net, you're gonna get hot leads in return. You just gotta understand that. Like you can't. You're not perfect. It's not perfect. But you've done nothing and you are most likely going to produce income after doing nothing. And like an AI did it all. So I don't know. I really don't know how else to phrase it. Care a little less and cast a wider net and you will get better results.
Ask for forgiveness over permission, like the wise words of Drake. It's like, worst case scenario, you get 1 letter wrong or whatever, but if you don't, you're not going to do anything. You're going to wait for a sign call from my perspective.
Yeah. I mean, like, guys, what is it more beneficial to have 120 really good, solid emails go out a day that produce 1 hot lead or a hot lead every other day and 30 of them suck? Okay, like 30 of them are wrong. Okay, I don't think it matters very much from that point of view, and I think a lot of people do also understand that it's probably automated.
Yeah.
So like, people aren't really, you're not pulling the wool over anybody's eyes, but if they have need, it puts you in the right place at the right time. I don't know how else to phrase it.
Super helpful, dude. Well, I want to be respectful of your time because I know you're spending a lot of time with us. Bless you. And it's incredibly helpful. And we're grateful for you. So I think what the action items coming out of this is, 1, I think you dropped more fire today. Goo, I think you got a lot of good stuff to work from. I really encourage you to think about the nudging of campaigns, and that piece is just as big of an opportunity as the follow-up. And then I think there's even some, the quote machine struck again today. And what I'd love to do is, over the next week or so, give or take a couple of days, have like the AI story where it's like, hey, before it was this, and then I got annoyed with this. Because I think, like, picture the Phoenix commercial guys, right, or the Western commercial guys. It's like, how can we tell the story of the results of it, and give it enough time to get the results, but then also be able to talk about any deals that surface or LOIs or tenant rep exclusives or whatever. But really just grateful for you, Dan, and it really means a lot. You always making time for us, and your perspective is so damn important. And I think that we're just really, really grateful for you, man.
I appreciate you guys. By the way, that Phoenix commercial was so funny. It was Friday. It's like 6 o'clock. My buddy's driving home. I'm just telling him about Resquared. I'm like, dude, because I know that he's had access to it and that somebody in their company uses it. So I'm like, are you guys in with the new stuff? Like, you got to give him a call. You got to get trained up. Like, and he's like, what do you mean? And then I was just telling him about it. And he's like, I don't understand. Like, we manually send, what do you mean? And he just couldn't fathom it. He drove past his house, which is 20 minutes away from me, came here immetally. As I'm talking to him, there's a knock on my door. He's like, show me right now. He's like, no
way.
Show me right now. I thought we typed up an email. I sent it right there. And then he looks at me, he's like, and just left.
That's crazy.
He's like, we've wasted so much time.
Wow. Well, Guys, I think that screams we have some customer marketing we need to do. In a way to serve our existing customer base. Because I think the two companies that you mentioned, are some of the oldest customers. I mean, I think I might have even sold them back in the day. So I think the problem is they, don't get the love, that they need. So, Dan, really appreciate your time. We'll reach out to you after we know the clip is loaded again, and can get some time, maybe sometime next week or early the following week, to kind of put a bow on the results from this. And then I think from the Resquared side, let's stay on for a couple minutes and just come up with a good game plan from here. But Dan, you're the shit, dude. Thank you.
Hey, once you guys have the email a little bit more dialed in, I'll have my campaigns going in the background so we can do it at any time. And happy to do it. Happy to go next week. Anytime there's updates, happy to dial in.
Sounds great, man. Thanks, Dan.
All right, guys, take care.
See you, bro.
So then,
Thanks, Dan. Bye-bye.
What up?
I love him.
yes, this guy's so funny.
It's awesome. It's awesome, man. He's like a quote. We should send him like a letter and a shirt, Tyler. I send you a message about this. We definitely should send him like some swag.
100% agree, dude. 100% agree. And I know we should even like maybe send him some like a bottle or something or whatever, I think from my perspective, it just shows how important it is to build relationships with customers, and like I said, I could call him and just talk about life and politics and, whatever, and I think that gives you that extra cushion, when things are not going well. And then it's the opposite here, so, I think what do y'all see as like the main actions, coming around out of this? Maybe we just start with like the technical side, Goo, and what your kind of game plan coming out of this, and then Leo and Yasmin, we can talk about what we have here and then what we want to move there and rock and roll. Goo, what do you have in mind here coming out of today's combo?
Yeah, I already have some pretty good feedback on the lead follow-up itself, so I just wanted to make it 100% best and just set it live, because of course when everybody's receiving it, we will receive much more follow-up information. So definitely I want to set this live as soon as possible. That way I can just gather much more feedback and listen with many other people how it's going and how it's helping them. So that's my first step for it, at least set it live. And I'm working on some follow-up things on the AI agent. I have noticed that, of course, Ben started some campaigns, but there are a couple of days that he doesn't use his full amount of daily emails. So I just wanted to work a little bit on this follow-up thing, where the agent talks with the client and suggests, oh, you should do another campaign, or a campaign's come to an end, or things like that. That way, you just can always be full of emails being sent. So those are the two next steps that I want to take in order to make it a better experience for him and everybody else.
Cool. One quick thing to add to that, and then Leo and Yaz, you guys can chime with the next steps for your point of view. Is I think that to me, this is the most immediate thing we need to solve, is what he talked about, right? Like even Dan, who's like our most active people, he'd go months without sending emails in Resquared, right? Like, are you guys able to see my screen here? So it's laid out the same on every freaking CRE person's website, right? Properties for lease, right? And then you can see it's labeled for lease, for sale. And then each of these has a brochure, right? Which is what the AI agent needs to send this stuff out. You can see this one's Jesse, who's Dan's business partner. But my point is like, I think a good is like, hey Dan, your campaigns are almost up, let's send another one. Like a better is, hey Dan, your campaign is almost up, here's a suggestion for another one. A great is, hey Dan, I analyzed every single one of your properties, here's uses for each of them, right? updated the brochures? Are there any uses here that you don't want? If I don't hear back from you by X time, I'm going to go ahead and send the first batch of the, like, we should be doing like 3 months of campaigns at a time, with the customers. So I just think from an agentic standpoint, like there's no reason why we can't have an agent go to their website, pull up each brochure, and basically just like do, like, I call it the load the clip, but I think that's, just like a tactical thing that I think we should explore, and it really allows the AI to fully shine. So that's just one thing I would add to, even with him, if he's not fully loading it and you can tell he's all in, how can we like make that frictionless?
Makes sense. A lot of sense, actually.
Cool. Leo, yes, what's the game plan? And then I'll let you guys go.
I have one question about his case study about AI, the AI agent. Do we want for him to close a deal to make the complete interview? Or do we want more of like an end date, like, oh, we want to get this done by next week. Doesn't matter if they haven't closed a deal yet because he already got like 3 hot leads, and this is like valuable enough for the case study.
I don't think it's an either or. I think we should do all of the above. Like, I think we should have already been getting quotes from him from the last call we had today, the call we had before. That could be just like one-off things. I think that we should see where he lands next week, in terms of like, is he about to have a deal? If he is, maybe we give it a little more time to close. If he's not, then we just capture it. Because I think in my mind, we're not looking for like a single AI agent case study. We're looking for just like a constant narrative on the AI agent, and unfortunately, it seems like Dan's the only one that we're really doing that with, right now. And I think there's an larger opportunity. So yeah, I think we should, like, there should be pebbles and sand, right? Like the big rock of like, here's an official case study, you got this many leads and blah, blah, blah. And then there should be tons of sand around that of quotes. And just this last week, he got this, So short answer is I don't think we should hold our breath and wait till he gets a deal. But I also think that we should wait till he gets a deal too. Like we do both, is how I see it.
So for example, would it be okay for me to like separate like a kind of quote testimonial to put on our website and social media posts with what he gave us so far? So like this is kind of a nugget from everything that we already have. And then when he closes a deal, hopefully by like some next week or the other one, then we have the complete official case study, like the full blog interview.
Yeah. I think I'm going to make a joke with you. I'm disappointed you would even ask me that. Like, yes, like absolutely. You should be getting the quotes with them. Yes, absolutely. We should be capturing. So yes, of course. Like, and he said that, in the first conversation we had with him, he was like, yeah, whatever quotes you guys want from me, we called him the quote machine. So yeah, I think all the above. Let's run it, and capture. Remember, if it's valuable, we're going to capture it, so even the quote he said today around like, I'm going to have this person as a tenant rep or whatever today, like to me, that's like a LinkedIn post, and then I think a big thing that I'm sure you guys will speak to in a second is like, our customer marketing sucks. Like the fact that these clients that have been with us for years don't even know about this feature is like shocking to me, so I think that's one thing that we should, squeeze more juice out of it is let's take a quote and send it out and, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so short answer is yes, I think that plan makes sense. Yes. And I'm curious what else you and Leo are seeing as like kind of the clear action items coming out of this.
Yeah, so I am going to create more video clips out of this one. And make a separate clip on the YouTube so I can use on other content, but like I for sure testimonial page, LinkedIn post on a company website. I can also send to Aidan for yours as well, like the client history that he just told us, and also the AI agent results so far. So I guess it's 2 separate posts it can be. And then I'm going to follow up with them once I have these links, for example, the testimonial ready, just for him to know, like, hey, Dan, we just published. Let me know if you want to change anything. And then follow up in next week to see if he got a deal or not. And then the next step would be the full interview once he had closed the deal.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Yas. And one quick like tactical thing, let's just like start doing like all of the calls with him using Riverside, just because of like the quality. So we can definitely like use this in a better like usage for the social media. And the only thing, Ty, that I don't know what your thoughts are on this. I really think that we should also like send an email to the customers with like this testimonial that is already like given with the AI agent. I'm just concerned with like timing with like all of the V2 things, and if you think like we should, I don't know, do some announcement of the V2 first and then like the AI agents like later. I don't want to like start like, I don't know, send like a ton of emails with like, oh, we changed like all of the product. Oh, we also like have this and all this sort of thing. I don't know, things get messy.
It's a good question. I think it starts with like it's impossible for me to give you the right direction on that, because I just don't know what the hell we're sending to our customers already, or what we're planning on sending to our customers, or what we have sent to our customers. Like, to me, it's just like, I think that was kind of like Gab's world, that we didn't really know exactly what was happening there, and like, what are the current flows of like, if somebody gets a lead, what's happening, and somebody not using the product. So I think until is that my microphone?
Leo, your mic is like a lot of noise coming from it.
It sounded like you were in a snowstorm, and let's see, Leo.
What the fuck?
Dude, are you getting hacked?
My AirPods just went crazy.
Blink twice if you need help. Yeah.
I need.
You can hear us. You can hear me now.
Yeah, I can hear. Yeah, sorry, my AirPods just went crazy.
No, I would say just less. Go ahead. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Just about the customer marketing stuff. I just talked with Paulo from product team today and Ryan from CS yesterday, and we already mapped what we're going to have like for the next sense. And for now, from marketing, the only campaign that we're going to send is the V2. Ryan and Paulo said that it's good to go now. So I was planning to send this week, and I think for the next week I can share the AI agent. So 1 email per week, I think it's fine. And I am going to be this is going to be my responsibility now, like map everything that we have, like AI automated, and then like calendar, one-time send emails from like these interviews and content and everything. So this is going to be more organized from now on. Just a note about this.
Sounds good. And I think I would just add to that, like, I think there's some sort of workflows around, because to me, like, what I'm hearing is, this is your world now, yes, which is awesome, because obviously everything you touch, you do an amazing job of. I think for me, what would be important for all of us to be on the same page with, but especially you and Paulo and Rai, is like, because right now we just talked about V2 launch. What about like when someone onboards, and then like a follow-up on an onboarding, and like what about like when somebody gets a lead, and then what happens if somebody doesn't get a lead, and what happens when we have a new feature, and what pops up in the product versus what is, like, I think the word that would encompass this, or I guess it's 2 words, what I'm saying is that what's the customer journey from like a messaging standpoint, because like the way I see it, the launch of V2 probably should be more than just one damn email, it should be like launch a V2, and then there could be like other little nuggets, and then we should have, like, we've talked about mapping out customers based off of their success, and then using messaging to move them up in the tree. So I think take this opportunity to look at the painting as a blank canvas of like what's already on the canvas. It sounds like there's nothing except for the V2 stuff, and then maybe there's workflows and stuff happening. But I just think it's to Leo's point, your question, like, is it too much to throw the AI agent out there? I think if they're getting a bunch of stuff, yes. If they're getting one email about V2, then no, but if they're getting 16 other automations that tell them random shit, then probably no too, So I think we're so far from sending too much communication to them that we should lean towards more of it. But I think we have to keep that value test, in the sense that, like, let's just not email them for the sake of emailing them, because that's basically what we were doing before. It's like, so you got a lead, can I sell you shit? Like, that was basically the workflow, which is like, is that valuable to them? No, right? So long story long, to be clear in what I'm asking for is, what is the plan stuff that's already going to be posted right now? So V2, what, if any, workflows are happening? And if not, what should they be? And then let's map out the nuggets. Like, we should have the month planned of what we're going to send at what times.
Yeah, it makes sense. No, makes sense. Yeah, Yasmin's already like working on this, and yesterday we talking with like Ryan. We just like, yeah, let's just like pause everything and start like from scratch and like more organized and a more valuable way. So I think we are like on the already going in this direction that you're talking about, Ty.
Cool. Well, I think we have a good plan from the agent standpoint. We have a good plan from the content standpoint, and let's take one nugget of content from Dan and turn it into 5 different things, right? It could be a LinkedIn post. It could be, a pop-up on the product. It could be a pop-up on or a newsletter to our subscribers. It could be a ping to just our customers. Like one nugget should be shared in a bunch of different areas, in my opinion. So I think who wants to own getting the next call scheduled? Maybe you, Goo, like make sure the clip is loaded with him, and then let's just plan on get something scheduled by the end of next week. And then once you pick the date, maybe Yaz and Leo can help you with getting the Riverside link in that invite, so there's not 2 different invites.
Okay, definitely. I can be the one to like at least get the time for it with him, and then we can just just read a message in Portuguese
good,
and bug my head, and then we can just schedule that directly through Riverside.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, good productive call, and I hope you guys have a good afternoon, and we'll talk soon.
All right.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Okay, guys. Thanks so much.